welcome to the nation's pulse, where we break down the stories that shape our lives, stir our thoughts, and spark national conversations.
Yes, indeed. Every week, we'll bring you sharp insights, bold perspectives, and thoughtful dialogue on the pressing matters affecting our nation, from the corridors of power to the street of everyday Nigerians.
And on our first topic, we have Natasha returns to the Senate. She's back and not quietly. Senator Natasha Apoti Uduaghan has stormed back into the red chambers after months of suspension and a heated legal fight. Officially, she was suspended over misconduct, but Natasha says her real crime was challenging Senate President Godswill Akpabio, whom she accuses of silencing her, and even of sexual harassment. Now the question is, will her comeback ignite fresh battles in the Senate?
Immediately, she broke the barricade and went into her office. The first statement she made was a full declaration of war. She said Akpabio is not the governor of the Senate, that there are equals. By that, she means that the man is actually just, how do they say it? Primus inter pares. He's just first among equals. He shouldn't act as if he's their lord, or there are some secondary school children where he gives orders here and there. Now, if you ask me, I think she has a valid point there. Not just me, everyone believes she has a valid point there. To silence a senator is to not just silence her, the person of Natasha, but her constituency, the people whom she represents. Since we claim that we are practicing a democracy and we copied most of our tenets from the guys overseas. If you've watched the British Parliament, you could even hear the parliamentarians booing each other. You hear them booing, and you dare not, yes, you dare not tell a senator or a parliamentarian to keep quiet or to sit down. You dare not do it. But it happens over and over and over and over again in Nigeria. And we keep hearing of suspension as if there were school children who erred. So who is going to suspend the Senate president?
I also do think that I respect her coming back to the Senate because it exposes systematic abuse in our legislative system. And also, despite the strong allegations she made, she came back. So that is something to pay attention to.
Of course.
Now to our second topic, we have CBN interest rate cuts to the economy now. A first in 5 years, the Central Bank of Nigeria has slashed its benchmark interest rate to 27%, down by 50 basis points. The move, the CBN says, is meant to spark economic activity as inflation cools slightly to 12% in August. But the question remains, when will this statistic begin to reflect on the streets?
That is going to reflect when people who work, gets paid, and then that's how the money will keep circulating here and there and here and there. And also when contractors, the guys who work, they get their full payment, you see that is going to reflect largely on the streets.
Yeah, I also feel like statistically and on paper, it looks like the inflation has come down, but food inflation is still high. We still have people complaining about the prices of food, living day to day. So I think we might need more evidence that this inflation is reflecting in the right places of the average Nigerian.
The guy who bought his goods last year when the stuff was still high, you don't expect him to come and sell it at a low rate today because the statistic says he should sell it that way. Definitely that's not good business. So let's just give it a year or two, then we might get to see.
All right, on our third topic, we have Fubara resumes office, still on the theme of suspension. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara and members of the State of House of Assembly are officially back in office after 6 months under emergency rule. President Tinubu's directive lifted the freeze effective September 18th, but here's the big political question. Will this mark a fresh start for Fubara and his estranged godfather, Nyesom Wike?
The both of them have come out on air to say that they do not have any bad blood, that they have all buried their hatchets. But the bigger question is the constitutionality of the president suspending a sitting governor, a duly elected sitting governor, whether he got it through the back door, but at least an election was orchestrated to give whatever they did behind door legality. Now, a president sits at the comfort of his villa or stands or whatever he does, and then he issued that a governor has been suspended, not just the governor, but the legislative arm of the government of River State. Now, I don't know if you have time for a little story.
Definitely.
Let's look at the story of the Animal Farm by George Orwell.
Okay.
When those guys in the animals in the farm They were fighting. They were fighting humans. Yeah, you know that humans maltreated them here and there. And if you look at our president, at a point in history, he was fighting military dictatorship, you know, where we said we don't want military rule, we want civilians, we want democracy. This is what we want. This is what we want. And now we got it. This thing is something that was similar, was akin to military dictatorship, where somebody could just stand up, Abacha could stand up and say, Section D of the Constitution is suspended, the Constitution in general is suspended, and it flies. But this is happening in a civilian rule, in a democracy. Let's call it that way.
I do feel like Fubara has had a very, very tough run since he came into seat.
And he has come back sober like a repentant sinner.
Okay, now for our fourth topic, we have Shettima at UNGA on the global stage. Vice President Kashim Shettima is in New York, leading Nigeria's delegation at the 80th UN General Assembly. Standing in for the President Tinubu, Shettima will deliver Nigeria's statements during the high-level debate on September 24. Many are asking, why does it seem like Tinubu himself is avoiding a direct face-off with global heavyweights like Donald Trump?
If Tinubu gets to see this, he might ask, what has he done to Nigerians? If he does this, he's in error. If the things he does, he's in error. The things he didn't do or wouldn't
he's
do,
also in error. Yes.
This is giving his vice president an opportunity to also shine. I believe in the last United Nations General Assembly, Mr. President was there. So why is he his deputy? Kashim Shettima has given his speech. I listened to it. And what he did is he made a strong case for Nigeria, advocating that Nigeria be given a seat, a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. Africa has about 54 countries. The United Nations Security Council, we do not have Africa being represented. And Nigeria, for starters, we are the most populous black nation, black African country. You know, so we need exactly. And most of the issues being discussed in the Security Council at the UN is basically Africa. You know, so why do you shave a man's hair in his absence?
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
All right. For our last topic, we have Remo Stars on fire and in sports. Remo Stars have lit up their continental campaign, crushing Comoros champions US Zili Majo 4-0 in Abeokuta. The emphatic win gives them a massive advantage in the return leg and fires up belief that the pride of Ogun are ready to conquer Africa. The burning question is, could this finally be their year on the continent?
Their next match is going to be on the 26th of September. And by aggregates, they are already ahead. I think they are proceeding to the next stage by their initial performance. It's only going to be a miracle if by 26th of September we see their opponents trashing them over 5-0, which I believe they are not sleepers, so they are going to definitely win.
And at the end of the day, it puts Nigeria back on the map, so generally it still looks good for us.
Of course.
Thank you. And now from the Senate to the CBN, Rivers politics to the UN stage, and even on the football pitch, Nigeria's story this week is one of power struggles, cautious shifts, and bold ambitions. The big question remains, will these changes bring real impact or just more drama? Join us next time, and until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep your finger on the nation's pulse.